introductory messages that I'm trying to wrap up in this book called Bringing America Greatness. And let me tell you how the book opens. The book opens in 1968. The astronauts are on their way to the moon. They're not going to land, but they're going to have the lunar module get close to the moon and that kind of thing. And at the end of their first excursion, before they were on their way home, they were looking at the Earth. And they're seeing the Earth from God's view, from the view of the Creator. And amongst this massive universe, they see this little itty-bitty Earth. Carl Sagan described it as the blue dot when the Voyager went up. He talked about this little blue dot. And that's what it looks like from God's view. And the astronauts started talking about the spiritual awakening they received when they saw the Earth from the universe, from the way our Creator looked at it. And they talked about not only how interconnected we are as a Earth, but also the challenges associated with why it's difficult for us to see how interconnected we are. And as I listened to that, and then I understood my own spiritual background, I began to think, well, what if the folks on the Earth could understand what the intention of the Creator was when He made the Earth? And that a diversity must have been on the mind of the Creator to be able to think about what this Earth would look like. And then the idea that the Earth was made out of love in so many ways. And what this message of love means to the greatness of this world and universe. I think it's very hard for people to even imagine what this universe must look like when you get outside this Earth. It's massive, massive, never ending. And yet, for some reason, we're here. Why? So the book starts out with understanding the greatness of this universe and why we can't match that with the kind of behavior and responsibility that should go with it. And so I started reflecting on why can't we see this Earth like the Creator sees it? Why can't we see this Earth as the astronauts saw it? What's preventing us from really understanding that perspective, especially if we claim that America has a history in religious freedom. We claim that America has a history in having some morality and cultural sensitivity. What is it that makes it difficult for us to see that? And so part of the book talks about the notion of the forest and the trees. Sometimes you can't see the forest because of life among the trees. And life among the trees on this Earth is absolutely challenging for many, especially when it comes to relating to each other. And remember, this problem is not something that's unique to just this country. We have a world that doesn't understand how important it is for us to live and work, learn, and play together. We do. So how do we begin to manifest the greatness of this universe into a behavior that speaks to our own greatness? And why have we missed it? And in so many ways, we've missed it because of life among the trees. And we're so connected to what we do every day that we fail to see what the Creator must have meant when the Earth was created. And so for us to really have a functional, congenial Earth, what is that going to require of us? And that's what really made me start thinking of this notion of greatness. It goes beyond just thinking of us amongst these trees as doing what we do, unless we connect to that very important, virtuous moral dimension that says it has to have something to do with how we treat each other. It has to. It has to. Because this is the space that we occupy. You know, a space that has dominion over animals, a space that has so much to do with how we live. And why have we missed it? The reality is that in so many ways, we've disconnected ourselves from the intent, I believe, that this earth was to have for all mankind. And so, how do we begin to get that back? And what is it going to take for us to do that? And I truly believe it's got to begin with how we treat each other. I truly believe it has to begin with understanding what that means. Because in so many ways, we are so divided on this earth, not just in America, but even as a world community, we are so divided. And it won't get better. And what worries me is that, remember, practice makes permanent. And with every generation, I worry that we're losing that quote-unquote moral fiber necessary for us to truly be great. Because to me, it begins with how humankind treats each other. So this book is a reminder of the importance of recognizing if this is what we're going to do, then let's go upriver and figure out what we have to begin to do to engage in a practice that's so compelling and so controlling in a positive way that it will lead us along that greatness path. So yes, so our organizational culture, the things that we do, the places that we work, all got to be on the same page. You know, we've got to make sure that when people go to work, they understand the importance of this human energy. We got to understand as when kids go to school, they got to understand the importance of this human energy. You know, and if we do that well, we can begin to save generations. Because I worry that if we don't begin to do that in an intentional way, it's hard. So we've got to be able to see our neighbors. As a matter of fact, I'm working on this notion of ICU. Now, you know what ICU stands for in most cases, intensive care unit for hospitals and so forth. Well, I believe that ICU is really something different. And it stands more for the intentional care that we need to impart to humankind. And see them as our neighbors, if you will, and treat them with that intensive and that intentionality that we all tend to deserve. So the book is about really reinvigorating not just America, but hopefully the world, on how important it is for us to truly understand greatness and get outside of these trees so we can begin to truly see what greatness should look like. And this notion about goat and boat is really important to me. So in the book I talk about making a distinction between greatness and best. And making sure that we apply that well, that the best of all time is very different than the greatest of all time. You know, and greatness has to have that spiritual, moral, virtuous element to it that everybody can aspire to. And I'm hoping that that's part of what the book does, is help people see that messaging of greatness. And of course, using the concept of the salad bowl, you know, and teaching people the importance of being lightly tossed and understanding what that means and expecting that I worry in America that because we don't think of ourselves as a salad, we don't expect to be lightly tossed. We don't have a comfort zone with that. Well, the fact of the matter is, we need to have a comfort zone with that, because that's going to happen. And so I'm going to be talking about, the things that you saw, the 4 A's, the salad bowl, in the book as a way of ascending, if you will, towards greatness. And the other thing I'm trying to do is create some kind of way of catching somebody doing greatness. In schools, we ought to be able to identify acts of greatness and acknowledging it as something we want our kids to remember. We ought to be reinforcing acts of greatness and catching kids being great. So we're going to take this I see you concept as a way of helping our educators see kids doing great things and acknowledging them for those great things. And because I know the value of paying attention to people and acknowledging people and making them feel that they are part of that energy of greatness. We need to begin to see greatness as something we all can aspire to. So I'm hoping that in the book, we'll get more people to begin to internalize why this message of greatness is so important. So I want to thank you for this opportunity to be able to share what to me is my greatest calling, is to leave this earth with something that allows it to be a little bit more functional than it is today. And to bring unity not only to America, but to a world that needs to understand the message of humankind as I just can't believe we've gotten so far askew. And I believe if more people really saw the earth from a universal perspective, it's hard not to be in awe of what we see from our Creator's view. I mean, I would love to be one of those people that goes and speaks. I would love that. That would be the greatest gift to me, would be to get into outer space and to see this vastness that would be so reinforcing to one's faith and one's belief in humankind. I think more people ought to experience what astronauts have experienced, because I'm telling you, it's a eureka moment when you get to see this universe from our Creator's view. And it puts in perspective greatness. So when Klein wrote, "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed, then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee, how great thou art." Truly, truly, the greatness of this universe has got to start being manifest into us, because this earth that we have custody of, ought to be the greatest example to greatness, in this universe, and a reflection of where we can go as humankind. So that's hopefully where this book is going to take me. I will hopefully have it out before the school ends. I'm almost done with the manuscript, so I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to contain. But I'm also learn new things every day about what greatness looks like, and I see that as always a work in progress, but something that we all could benefit from. So, and anybody have any comments or questions for me? I hope you enjoyed the training. I hope there's is there an evaluation form that they'll get? You'll be sending. Okay. So hopefully you guys get a chance to evaluate. Tell me what you think. If you tell me what I can do to get better. I always tell kids I'm on the move to improve. So tell me what I can do better. And certainly, much love for you. I wish you the best as you go about your endeavors. And if there's anything I can do, if you have the handout, my email and my cell phone is on the handout. So feel free. If you want to send me a text or email, I would love to hear from you. And in the meantime, I wish you the best as you continue with your work with kids with disabilities. So I love you. Thank you so much.